Hey, Bestie Bees, welcome back to the Beyhive Podcast. It's your girl, Desiree. Hey.
And it's your girl Maya. Thank you for joining us today.
Yes.
How are you doing?
I'm doing pretty good today. I feel very chill, very mellow today. What about yourself?
Okay. I'm feeling pretty good, I'm in like a
Mm.
lovey-dovey mood. It's my anniversary today, so I'm just
It's
like,
her anniversary.
and Valentine's Day was a couple weeks ago.
Ooh.
I love today.
I love that.
Yeah, what's new? Like,
Oh.
okay, give me like maybe like your top two or let's say top three things
Changes?
that
Oh.
happened since we last like got together. Like what's new?
What is new? Oh, I like did a deep clean,
Okay.
uh, a deep clean on my space, and I realized that I was just collecting a whole bunch of like just weird items that I would get from like flea markets, stuff like that. I'm like, I really
Mhm.
didn't need all this. It was just like, oh, this is cute, like from Target, and then
Yeah,
it just like goes in the corner,
that's so
and I'm like,
real.
I'll figure out later like where to put it, or like clothes, like oh, I'll wear this one day and then I never wear it, or I wear it once. So I got a lot like out of my space, and I just feel like it just made me feel better, like a
Yeah.
cleaner space. I feel like okay, like it's the new era is approaching.
Yeah.
So it's like
That's a good feeling.
yeah, so it's like out with the old, in with the new. So that's been like even like mentally, I feel like it's been good for me. Like just feel lighter, I guess you could say in a
Oh
way.
yeah.
So that's happened. I'm trying dating again.
Okay.
Yeah,
Period.
again.
Period.
So I don't know if I should say too much because what if they see this? But yeah, I feel like it's very much a learning lesson. Like okay, yeah, definitely not doing that again. Or okay, this is new. Let me see.
Oh yeah. That's like what dating is too, is like
I
just
hate it.
figuring out what you like, what you don't
I
like.
hate.
It's yeah, no, it very much gives like being in the trenches. But I
Yes.
think sometimes too it comes down to your mindset. It's like, okay, it is what it is.
Mm.
Like, and I think that
Mhm.
is a good thing because with relationship stuff, when things are bad, it feels so bad.
You feel so
It feels really
intense.
bad. But when you're just dating, it's like if things are bad, like they don't owe you anything, you don't owe them anything. It's like,
Uh-huh.
it is what it is. You can move on peacefully.
You see, with me, it's a little different. I don't know. It's because I'm like anxiously. I was thinking for the girlies who are anxiously attached or like just. I have a
Oh,
lot of
that makes a
anxiety,
difference.
so even the whole like they don't owe you anything. I don't know why, but that triggers me because it's like you should treat people with some human decency. Like I don't know. I feel like that's a cop out when some people say that. Like, oh,
Mhm.
I don't owe you anything. It's like, yeah, you don't, but like you don't have to be an asshole.
Oh,
You know what
yeah,
I
yeah.
mean?
There's definitely, like, boundaries to that
Yeah.
for
Because
sure.
I take that more as like, okay, yeah, like you don't. I'm not expected to be like treated like I guess like more like with privilege, like
Yeah.
oh, like you're the exception. Like um I don't think I'm like the exception where like nothing bad ever happens to me, or
Mhm.
like I will never go through like certain challenges. But it's just like, yeah, dude, like you didn't have to do all that or like
Yeah.
be like disrespectful, like for what? So I don't know. Maybe I'll talk about that. I don't know. We'll see. But I had to stop myself from cussing someone out. And I was
Ooh.
like, no, let me not give them no, because when they go lower, sometimes I want to go lower. Okay. I
Mhm.
want to go to hell with it all the way. Because no, I'm not the bigger person. Sometimes I don't know why I just can't sometimes be the bigger person.
Yeah.
I'm like, no, I'm not gonna be the bigger person. I'm gonna say what's on my mind. But trying to be a changed woman. Let's see. Um, yeah, that's new. And then there was one more thing I forgot. I don't know. Oh, I am I kind of do want I want to do like a career shift. So I'm trying to get more into like the social media content space. And I'm back to like volunteering for this one social platform
Okay. That's
called
exciting.
yeah, the YCBC. Shout out to them. Make sure you follow their page on Instagram if you are creative looking for like resources, opportunities like in the LA area. That's like what their the posts are mainly about, and like
Okay.
shining a light like on black and brown creatives, yeah, things like that. So I'm back to doing that. Um, yeah, and I like that. That's like make keeps me like busy and happy.
Okay.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yes, that was like a lot. But what about you?
Oh my gosh, I seen Tyler the Creator at
Ooh.
crypto. Oh my gosh, I
Mhm.
can't believe I got accustomed to calling it crypto. Like it was forever in my heart, the Staples
Staples.
Center. And I
Me
feel like
too.
that's like even when it changed, it was still supposed to be the Staples Center, but now I find myself calling it crypto. But yeah, so
Mhm.
I seen Tyler the Creator, such a great concert. And I feel like even though he has like such a cult following and like a huge fan base, he
Mhm.
still does not get the credit that he deserves, like
Mm.
whatsoever. He puts on such a great show. He's someone that's like just so passionate,
Mhm.
and you can tell like he genuinely just like loves what he's doing when he's on stage. Like
Mhm.
you can even feel it in just like the energy of the room. Like there was even there's like one song I feel like it'll just bring like tears and like chills because of what he's talking about. And like this album specifically, he was like inspired by Mr. Morel. And like if you're a Kendrick fan,
Okay.
you know
I
that
see
was
that
like
now.
the first that was like Kendrick's album where he got really, really personal
Mhm.
about a lot of stuff that was going on in his life. And it was probably that first album where he spoke like to personal things he was going through. So that's like the equivalent of this album for Tyler. And
Mhm.
so, you know, I'm a huge Tyler fan. So that was
Yes.
like that was like such a big thing for me. Just on top of it being like a record breaking like arena
Mhm.
residency for a hip hop album.
Oh,
Like that was
wow.
something like six sold out shows
In
at
LA.
crypto.
Wow, I didn't know
Yes,
that.
6 shows, so that was just like, wow, I'm so glad I made it there because them tickets was
I
expensive.
bet. And you had a
Um,
cute little outfit
yeah, thank
that you had
you. It was
on.
last minute too. Shout out to Fashion Nova. If you live in LA, Fashion Nova does 1 day delivery. You can order
Mm.
it
That's
that
only in LA?
yeah, just
Oh, I
because
didn't
the
know
warehouse is in
that.
LA. So if you
Oh, yeah,
are in
yeah.
LA, you could order something and get it the next day. So
Wow.
Fashion Nova, shout out to y'all. Sponsor our next video.
Right. Dress us up with something
Right.
cute.
What else? I guess still on the topic of crypto, I went to my first Lakers game
Oh,
too.
you did? How was that? Did
Yeah.
they win?
They did win.
Okay.
They played the
Good for
Dallas
them.
Mavericks, which was like supposed to be a big game. Cause I mean,
Mm.
I'm not big into sports, but my boyfriend keeps me updated, and so I do know that like there was a big trade that happened with the Lakers and the Mavericks. So it was like the first game post trade. But what really got me about that game is that because our clients took us out,
Mhm.
some clients that were working with at work, and they had a suite and it was
Ooh.
open bar. They had
Ooh.
food in there. And then they even brought this like dessert cart that had like brownies, cookies, cake, ice cream. I was like,
Mm.
oh,
Time
how
has
am I supposed to go back to a
passed.
regular seat after that?
Wow.
So that was a cool experience. The
Mhm.
third thing, like what else? I mean, I guess I could say today is my 2-year anniversary with my boyfriend.
Mhm.
That time flew
Wow,
by
that's
so freaking
it
fast. I
did.
feel like I was just talking to you about like, oh, I met this guy.
Yes. Just I was like,
It was really random because
okay.
he literally like found me randomly. We had no mutuals or anything like that. So it was
Mhm.
kind of like a leap of faith, like, okay, I like his approach. Let's see how it goes. Here we
Mhm.
are, two
What
years
2 years
later.
later? Wow. No, I love that because, nowadays, I don't know, I feel like you don't hear like long-term relationships. I don't know, or at
Hmm.
least for me, I'm like not haven't like
Yeah.
experienced that in a long time or like heard another experience.
Yeah.
So it's actually really good to like hear like about like a healthy like long-term relationship, instead of all the
Yeah. Yeah.
other like
So
stuff.
feel like that's definitely a thing when you live in a big city too, because there's just so many people.
Yeah.
You can't like possibly meet everyone versus like
Mhm.
where we're originally from,
Good old
Bakersfield,
Bakersfield.
everyone kind of knows everyone, so it's like you kind of want to like be a little hesitant
My
about who
sister
you
was
date.
just
It's
telling me
like, who
that.
do you know? Like, you may have mutuals, like, or you find out they
Mhm.
date someone that's friends with someone you're friends with, or something like that. So,
Mm.
yeah. But anyways,
Yeah.
let's get into
Topic today?
yeah. What are we talking
Yes.
about?
So today we're talking about just how in life there's distractions, when you're trying to improve your life, be successful and not let those distractions get to you.
Mhm.
But like how, sometimes it does, sometimes it happens, But yeah, I guess we wanted to talk about like how to overcome those and use Beyonce, of course, as an example of how she's done that in her career.
Yeah.
Um,
Do you
yeah.
remember? I guess I'll paraphrase, but there was like a creator that made reference to the Toni Morrison,
Hmm.
the Toni Morrison quote that's about like how racism is a distraction because you're constantly having to like prove yourself to
Yes.
people, versus like just using that energy to like show up and do what you love. And so
Hmm.
anyway, there was a creator that posted about how if Beyonce focused on like trying to be accepted into country music and trying to, force her way into that space, even though she very much has been doing country music and she's very much
Hmm.
a country girl. She's from
Girl,
the South.
H
So
Town. Shout out to y'all.
that is like her culture. That's definitely her culture. And
Hmm.
so if she worried about, oh, they're not accepting me, or if she took the time to respond and gave that energy, like she probably wouldn't have been able to accomplish what she accomplished this year at the Grammys,
Hmm.
which was winning country album of the year, which I feel like she probably appreciated more than album of the year,
Yeah,
period.
that reaction she had, I feel like
Yeah.
told was a tell-all because I was even like, huh, like what? Y'all sure?
Right.
No, but I was like, wow, okay, like times are changing. Like they finally woke up, I guess, and
Man.
decided to choose right. But yeah, I when I saw that quote, I was like, it just what stood out to me was like if you like just focus on like what you're doing more, like not like the negative or like what other people
Mhm.
have to say, because if you do that, then like nothing's going to get done.
Yeah.
Um, and it's like you're giving in to what people say. Like if she, like how you're saying, like she would have given into that, she wouldn't have came out with like Public Carter or like
Mhm.
Renaissance or maybe even like still continue, her
Yeah.
career.
No,
Yeah.
that's so real because even at the country music awards last year, she didn't even get
Mhm.
nominated for
Yeah, they didn't
anything.
recognize
Like
anything.
that's actually that's actually like a huge slap in the face to her,
Hmm.
considering how big that album was this year. Them not even giving her a nomination said so much, and a lot of people were like angry behind that, respectfully angry. But that's something else. If she had let that get to her, or
Hmm.
let that be a reason to you know, just let that affect her in general.
Yeah.
Like, again, she wouldn't be accomplishing everything
Yeah.
that she is now.
Or be the influence that she is or like the inspiration, because I may be honest, like listening to Renaissance and
Mhm.
like some songs on Cowboy Carter, like when I listen to them, they are inspiring and like during the time they came out, like helped me get through like whatever I was going through and
Mhm.
then like help me dive more into like history of like my own family or like country music and how Black folks have oh my
Yeah.
gosh, a heavy influence on
Yeah.
it. So I'm like, I wouldn't have even probably known that.
That is such a great point because I feel like, I mean, we don't know her, of course, but
Mhm.
just from like her work in the past, I think that's the bigger picture for her.
Yeah.
Is like it's not about, because she, going back to 2016, she had that experience at the Country Music Awards where like she did that performance and the crowd is looking all ugly.
That was the
and
best
they're,
performance that the country music whatever award ever had.
They had the most views that year because she performed.
Right. That's the only
But-
time I've ever watched it. I'll be honest. I've never watched the country music. I don't know what they call it. The CMAs.
Yeah.
Okay.
Country music awards.
Okay. The CMAs. I've only watched Beyonce performance. Maybe like a little bit here and there of like other people throughout the year, but a whole performance on CMA.
Yeah.
Beyonce.
Never tuned into that.
I don't ever tune into it.
For sure. Yeah, so she had that experience, but it's like I think doing this, well, she did say it was because of like an experience she had, which we know it was that. But I think like coming into it this time, it was like a bigger picture of celebrating artists who already are in that space and are struggling to like do country music as like being Black and what it means to be in those spaces. There's a lot of other artists that like have came forward and talked about what it is to like be in Nashville, where like country music is like it's a huge community, and them not being accepted, and then also just shining light on artists that have done it in the past, like Linda Martell, right?
Yeah, I think Linda.
Dang, I really hope I got her name right. But yeah, again, like I wouldn't have known like that history of who she was had it not been for Beyonce having her on the album. And then also just I love the cosign that she got from like Willie Nelson and stuff. And he's not particularly a Black artist, but he's like a country like icon.
I didn't even know he was until I work harder.
Man, even like the Dolly Parton cosign, like. So it's
I love Dolly.
Yeah, this project, though it may not necessarily be like my most favorite Beyonce project, I think it has that significance to just like understanding why history is important and kind of giving everybody the lesson of like, Black people have a history of like the country space and why they were called like cowboys and just so much stuff. I feel like it was like something that she needed to do.
Yeah. So I feel like there's always a bigger picture, or it's like I don't know if it's like not a domino effect, but it's like I guess like everything happens for a reason. It's like if she gave in to negative comments, then like this whole Act 1, 2, and 3 would have never happened. And then the people who would have been inspired by it would have never been inspired by it. It's just like, wow, like imagine that, So it's just like, you never know, like, I guess like one decision could make a difference in your life. You know, it's just a matter of like, which decision do you want to make? But I feel like the one that there's a bigger picture there, so probably go with that one, one that's like a little might be risky, but like worth the risk. Like you never know until you try.
Yeah.
So that is actually what really inspires me about that is Beyonce taking a risk. She's always taking risks with her like albums career, and it always like turns out beautiful and like a learning lesson, but very inspirational. Yeah.
Yeah. I think like even the bottom line just behind like her wanting to inspire, her like wanting to explore and be in a new genre, she genuinely loves this shit.
Yes,
like
you have to.
And I think that's really like what it comes down to for her. Like, of course, all the other stuff is a plus, but like she is doing it because this is what she genuinely enjoys. Again, she's from Texas. She's from the South. Like they listen to country music, like that whole country culture. Like that's Texas. Even her like Southern accent and stuff. Like even when she was younger, you really heard that and seen that come up. Points in her career, you can find her in like cowboy hats. Like that's very much always been a part of who she is. I think she just really leaned into it this time. But the album really speaks to that because it's just so well done. Like it couldn't be that well done if it wasn't something that she genuinely loved to do. And I
Yeah.
think that kind of circles back to the Toni Morrison quote of like not letting racism be a reason to like not let yourself do things.
Or like limit yourself, put yourself in a box.
Yeah, like not
Mhm.
let it be a distraction because ultimately you're doing what you want to do. And we can like replace racism with anything that
It's a distraction.
yeah, with anything
Have you ever been
and
through that? Like what do you feel like, or like has anything like ever distracted you from like your like what you're trying to accomplish, I guess is what I'm
mhm.
trying to say.
um ooh. I know something has.
Like
I'm
what
like
are your
I'm trying to think of
distractions?
like what it's going to be.
Mhm.
Um what the answer is going to be because I feel like I have so many answers that definitely had a
Mhm.
point in my time where I let like love for people or like relationships,
Mhm.
romantic or like friendships kind of like distract me from
Mhm.
things that I wanted. Um and I think it's never that clear when you're in it, but just like to
Mhm.
give an example, I feel like um kind of like I've moved around since like high school.
Mhm.
And so sometimes I feel like my relationship with like my friends back home always kind of like the dynamics always changed a little bit. And so I kind of like accepted that until I started to feel like really uncomfortable in that space where it's like I don't really feel like we're friends or I'm only around when it's like beneficial, like we don't catch up. There was like
Mhm.
no effort there. And
Mhm.
I felt like for a long time, I just kept trying to work on it, trying to work on it. But I knew in my heart, like, okay, I genuinely like I
Mhm.
I'm insecure, girlfriend, Sex in the City, like those are my
Ooh.
favorite shows where I romanticize friendship. And I would
Mhm.
watch those shows like I want that. Like I really want
Mhm.
that. And so I think the distraction was like my love for like that like friend group, we have been friends for so long, that love for them kind of took away from like me being open to making new friends and finding
Mm.
that that
Mhm.
sitcom kind of like
Mm.
friendship where it was like
Yeah.
very genuine and we cared about each other and we loved each other and stuff like that. And so
Mhm.
I think that was that was definitely like a distraction. I guess that's a form of like, love
Mhm.
being a distraction or like just being comfortable or things that are like familiar where it's like, okay, I could work on this, I could work on this. And it's like I
Mhm.
I gave my all and it still wasn't working. And that's okay.
Mm.
Still have love for them, but I just know like, it's okay to find that somewhere else too.
Yeah. No, that makes sense. I think oh, I forgot what to say. Like, what am I trying to say? Because I'm like, wait, maybe I'm just gonna repeat everything you just said. But yeah.
It's okay. I feel like I mean, what's like your story behind it though?
Mhm. Oh yeah, distractions.
Mhm.
So many distractions. For me, I've noticed in the past, like I've definitely let like love be a distraction. Um, and I think actually comparing myself to others to where like it became a distraction as like I would whatever I was doing, I would see someone else doing it. I'm like, oh, but they're doing it like way better. Or like, I don't know if
Mhm.
I'm ever going to get to that level or if I can. I don't know. Like, I used to think like it is either luck, like you have it or you don't. Like either luck is on your side or it's not. So I was like,
Mhm.
maybe I don't know. Um, like with like my life, like with modeling that I've tried. Um, I went through like this heartbreak where I was like so heartbroken, like for the first time too.
Mhm.
And I was like, what, like 24? So like I feel like I was very like a late bloomer to like the dating world. So even now I feel like I'm still like trying to figure out things. And I'm like, people maybe have gone through like, I don't know, like earlier, but for me, it's all happening now. So it's like
Mhm.
it's still new to me. So it was really hard to like move past it. And I'm not gonna lie, I was at this one photo shoot and I just was not feeling it. Like I was on the verge of tears. Like I just didn't want to be there.
Oh.
And I was like, I don't know. It was because of a man. Why? But
It
it was
happens to the best
yes.
of us.
But I'm like, no, girl, like pull yourself up, like pull it together. But I just like was not feeling it. And then yeah, I was in this like space where like I just like wasn't trying anymore, like on things that like I knew I was passionate about, but I was just like, I guess so heartbroken that I don't know. I look back at it now. I'm like, girl, what the fuck were you like?
It'd be like
Stand
that.
up, you know? But in the moment, I was just like so hurt. I don't know. Like I couldn't even like say exactly why, but I was just like so hurt. And I'm like, wow, I don't know. But that and like comparing myself to someone, or like comparing like my chapter one to like someone's chapter 10.
Mhm.
I think I had a real issue with that. And I'm still like
Mm.
in a way like trying not to do like unlearn all that. So like the stuff like that has been like distraction for me. But I feel like in recent years like actually starting this podcast I feel like helped me. Because I realized like, wow, it's been a minute since I've done anything like this, or like
Mhm.
gotten back into the creative field, done things that like I really enjoy to do. So, yeah, that was like a year ago. I'm like, you know what? It's time to like move on or like not let that stuff have such a grip on me,
Yeah,
you know? So, yeah.
definitely. Yeah, that sounds about right. I think especially with this too, like it and I like what you said. Sorry to go back what you said
Mhm.
about comparing your like level one to like someone's level 10.
Mhm.
Um First like comparison is always the thief of joy.
Yes.
Like it's also like you just everyone's journey is different. You never
Mhm.
know like what someone may have gone through to get where they are
Mhm.
too. Dang. I like lost my train of thought, but I wanted to like say something around like,
Mhm.
just giving yourself the grace and having the patience to
Mhm.
like that comparison is the distraction from you just keep working at it to like get to
Mhm.
your level 10, whatever level 10 looks like for you.
Yeah.
I think even doing this too, sometimes like doing this and then going back to what you said, sometimes like ourselves, like we are the distraction.
Mhm.
Like,
Yeah, that's what I wanted to say. I'm like, I feel like myself,
mhm,
I realized like I was my own distraction. Like I was letting things that I'm like, weren't even maybe like it was just all of my own thoughts. I created this
mhm,
whole narrative that wasn't true. It was like you got to start somewhere, you know, and you got to
yeah,
continue. And if you want to improve, you have to get through like the first, like, you know, ugly stages where things are a little wonky, you
oh
know, it's
yeah,
uncomfortable. Get through that uncomfortable stage. And it reminds me of a quote that I heard of like everything you've ever wanted is, well, no, everything you've ever wanted is um on the other side of fear or something like that.
oh, okay. I feel like I know what
Yeah.
you're saying.
It's like you gotta
Yeah,
get through that like fear or whatever
yeah,
to get to like,
where
you
you
know,
want to
where you're trying to
be.
go. Yeah.
Yeah, that's so real. Yeah, no, I think even like a thing that has been a distraction for me doing this is like support.
Mhm.
I'm a Leo and I feel like
Big
we are
Leo.
big, right? Big Leo energy. We are, and me personally too, aside from like the astrology talk, but I'm a really big cheerleader. So
Mhm.
when it comes to people, honestly, I'm rooting for everybody. Like I can 110% say like I'm not a hater when it comes to like people getting what they work hard for and
Mhm.
people getting what they deserve. And so I feel like whenever there's like people close to me or I see people pursuing, like whatever, if it's like a entrepreneurial thing or doing music or art, whatever it may be, like especially with creative outlets, I feel like I'm always going to support that. I'm always going to root for that person,
Mhm.
especially working in social media, having an understanding of what a like can do for people, what a share can do, or
Mm.
giving someone like using your platform to speak on like someone else's what they have going on or their work and stuff. It makes a difference. So sometimes I feel like I get distracted if I don't have
Mhm.
that same support for like what I'm
Oh, okay.
doing.
Yeah.
But even going back to Beyonce, I have to remember like we're doing this because we
Mhm.
genuinely love to have conversations and build a community
Mhm.
and, kiki with
Yes.
people.
About
So
who? Beyonce.
yes. So that's definitely something I have to remind myself, like, okay, so what if I like post something and not
Mhm.
everybody in my family is commenting
Yeah.
on it, or not
You know
all of my
what?
friends are sharing and
Yeah.
supporting? Because you know what? Some a lot of things that you do is not for your family. It's not for your friends. Like
Yeah.
they could support you, but they're not always the target audience, you know?
Yeah, because a lot of my families, I mean, like, I think, like, me and one of my younger sisters, were into different things.
Mhm.
So, when I'm into, like, she may not be as into, like, beyond, like, maybe actually out of my entire family, I'm the only one who's, like, a Beyonce fan. But it actually reminded me of what I actually thought about initially when I first saw that post that we brought up of not letting racism become a distraction.
Mhm.
um the intention behind like what you do, like it can't
Mhm.
be, if it's for the validation of others, then you're probably not, if that's the only thing, oh my gosh, if that is the only thing,
Fueling.
yeah, feeling food, I can't even say it, I don't know
I
why.
get you.
If that's the only thing keeping you going, then it's gonna be short lived,
Yeah,
because like one day your engagement might be up, people might be loving you, the next day nothing,
yeah,
So
crickets.
it's very up and down, and I feel like your whole nervous system gonna be very up and down, emotions gonna be up and down. So, and that's what I realized, like, because sometimes, like in the past, maybe like even recent, like I would really like something that I did or like post or made created, and then I like, am looking, like online, like at the comments or like the likes, and I'm like, oh, like, but no, sometimes I be like, okay, y'all are just blind because that was, I know I did
Right.
that.
Like I
Like,
ate that.
I ate that
Like
up. Okay, that picture, I ate that picture right on up. I don't know what
what?
y'all doing.
That video edit, like y'all wasn't messing with
Right. I said
that.
that edit, y'all see how I, did the, little sound effects and, the angles, like, come on, girl.
Right.
So I was like, sometimes I'm like, man, y'all tripping. Like, I know I ate that up.
Right. And I think that has to be enough sometimes. It's like
Yeah.
that, like knowing that you're proud of your work and what you put
Hmm.
out and stuff like that. It's like, okay. And that's what I'm trying to get to, even with like my personal social media, which is why
Hmm.
I was telling you guys earlier, I have things scheduled on Instagram.
Hmm.
So it's like
Hmm.
once I have it created, I get it set up, schedule it a day to post. So then when it posts, I'm not like posting it and then looking to see like who liked it or who's looking
Oh, that
for it
is
and stuff.
smart.
Yeah, it's like
Okay.
I may get back on my phone and see like, oh yeah, I forgot this was set up
Hmm.
to post. So basically, all in all, post your content because you love it. Don't worry
Yes.
about getting validation from anybody, what people are gonna think. Even if it feels a little bit cringy, whether it's content, music, art, whatever it is, post your work because your audience is out there.
Hmm.
And I think that's exactly, what we're doing now, just
Yeah.
leaning into it and doing this because this is what we genuinely love to do.
Hmm.
And then of course while we're doing it, building a community, being able to like grow with our community and being like open, telling our stories, having these conversations and stuff. It's like that's the bigger picture behind all the other distractions of like how people might perceive us or what they might think or what they might
Hmm.
say. So yeah, post your
Yeah. You
content.
gotta start somewhere, you know, even if it is cringy at first, it's like you gotta like learn as you go.
Yeah.
And actually, that was something I wanted to say about like even the podcast. Like, I always have to go back to the bigger. the purpose or like the intention I had with it. Like even like with starting this podcast, it wasn't for like clicks and views. It was like I wanted like some sense of community, and like
Yeah.
connection. And I'm like, if that meant it was just us two talking and no one and just me and you and our friendship developed that way, like I was fine with that. I just wanted to make some kind of connection,
Yeah.
with like communities or like with friends, and everything. So yeah, because I didn't want it to be about like the numbers, whatever.
Yeah.
Um,
Definitely.
yeah.
Yeah, just going back to like we're doing this because we love to do it. But if at the
Yep.
end of the day this becomes a space for people or we grow a big audience or
Mhm.
we're able to get paid, like
I hope
all of the
so.
extra stuff is like a plus because this is something that we genuinely love to
Yeah.
do. At but it wouldn't hurt to get a little check too.
Money, done, Beyonce,
But that getting a check is not the reason behind why we're doing this at all. So
Yeah,
yeah,
it's just like again, like for community. Like I
yeah,
saw the other day, a TikTok of someone saying, I just wish there was a space for like a community where we can just talk about Beyonce, and I, you know, commented like, hey girl, like we got a podcast about that.
hmm,
Because I feel like the conversations turn into like something else, and just like it's like that bridge I feel like helps connect people
yeah,
to one another based off like a shared common interest or
oh yeah,
her music taste being Beyonce in this case. So I was like, yeah, girl, like, I mean, it's out there. So I'm like, man, I think it's just a matter of time before people find us because I know there's other people out there that are looking for something like that.
yeah,
And for me, I'm like, okay, if I'm going to do a podcast again, it got to be something that I really like to talk about, you know. So
yeah.
that's why Beyonce came to me, and also myself. I'm like, I love to chit chat. So about like life, what's
Yeah.
going on in life, um,
Yeah, I feel
and
like
yeah,
Beyonce is like a good symbol for like what we're trying to embody as like young women in our 20s and growing and
hmm
navigating like life and love careers. Like we can look back on like a lot of things she's done or talked about or just the her personality that we got
hmm
to see. And of course we don't know her, but just what she's been able to show us, it's like we can always tie that back to ourselves. And
hmm
she's that example for us, just like she's that example for a lot of people. So I feel like, I love that this is a platform where we can like uplift her and give her
hmm
those flowers. Cause yeah, I feel like there's a lot of artists who are deserving of that and they don't necessarily always get that until they're no longer with us.
That's
So
true.
yeah, no,
No, yeah, I
I
love
love that for
that.
us.
Love it,
Right.
friend. Just kidding.
Jinx.
No, I feel like it's so like it's a lot easier when you're doing something that you really like to do. Like something like think of something that like wholeheartedly, like you will stand 10 toes down on, like like I believe in this. I
Hmm.
believe whatever that dream is. Like I don't care what anyone says. And honestly, for me, it was like I knew like no matter what people said about like Beyonce, I'm like I don't care what I would say. Like I'm day one fan of hers. You cannot get me to not be like fan of hers unless she does something like outrageous, but like she hasn't. So I just knew like no, I don't think even if people did comment like something negative, like I was
Hmm.
like, bitch, you dumb. Like, how you not like Beyonce? Like, what? Actually, I think I have done that. And our like other clips when people try to came for us,
Yeah.
I was like, okay, whatever,
Yeah.
you
It's just
know.
like they're not the target audience, and that's okay.
Yeah. So I feel like
Yeah.
I just didn't care as much because I'm like, I just knew deep down, like, no, I said what I said, and I really can care less what anyone else has to say because
Doubling down.
yeah, like, so I think that I know it might be like difficult. I don't know, like anyone listening, like, what is that thing that like no matter what anyone says, like you're gonna continue to do? I think
Mhm.
like once you find that, it makes it easier to like not get distracted. like
Yeah.
cancel out all the noise because like this is what I meant to do.
Yeah, exactly. Kind of like the last little thing before we wrap up, but that
Mhm.
brought me to this video of there's this rapper, her name is Nilla Allin. She's from Inglewood.
Mhm.
But she used to have like a job and like a corporate job behind the desk, and then she literally just started like doing content. But at the end of the day, her big goal is like doing music. And
Mm.
she talks about, or like basically someone commented on one of her videos, like, you're doing music, but you're not famous yet, so you need to be humble. And she's like, why do you think I want to be famous? She's like,
Mm.
I've turned down 5 deals,
Wow.
and because I'm not gonna sign a deal just because that's what everyone else is doing, and like
Mhm.
stuff like that, and talking about how she likes being able to like go to the grocery store and go to a yoga class and stuff. Like she likes her privacy. She was like,
Mhm.
all the famous girls, like y'all don't let them do anything. Like I like to go to the gym and I like to go to the
Everybody's
grocery
on their
store and stuff like
microscope.
that. But it's just the fact that someone had the audacity to comment that because they feel like they see her and they know her and stuff, and she had to like kind of like clock them a little bit. Like what makes
That's
you
like
think?
projection,
Yeah,
you
like
know.
what makes you think that's what the goal is, because that's not what
Mhm.
it is. And I love how she doubled down on like, just because that's what you think is like the normal route to like being an
Mhm.
artist, that's not what I want for myself. So yeah, that was kind of like her in real time, like just canceling out that noise of like, oh, you're not even famous, you're not even famous. She's like, you know what, I don't want to be famous, and this is like the route that I chose to take for myself. And so
Mhm.
yeah, I think like even with doing this, if there ever is a time where there is a lot of noise, just remembering like that's just a distraction because
Yeah,
we're doing exactly what we're supposed to do and stuff like that.
I don't
So
care. Maybe I should be
yeah.
careful what I wish for, but well, not that I'm wishing for like people to come for us, but I feel like I just wouldn't, depending on like what people like say. I don't know,
Yeah.
but I don't. Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
like, no, I know. But there's just like some things that I just feel like no matter what, like I like no, I like doing this, and I really don't care what other people have to
Yeah.
say.
Yeah.
Um,
And that's really what
yeah.
it comes back to
Yeah,
for
and
sure.
it's for yourself. Actually, okay, before last thing,
Mhm.
because something about an update, I don't know if I mentioned this. No, maybe I did mention this in the first episode, but I actually got an opportunity to like be a hair model for Ruthless Curls, and it's because one of my friends worked with them, and she like, hey, um are you available whatever this time? And I'm like, yeah, and I'm like, oh my gosh, like I was like nervous, but like I took the opportunity because I'm like, wow, like this is something that I um see myself doing,
Mhm.
and I'm hoping I can do it more. But it just reminded me back of like younger of like, wow, imagine if I kept listening to like, I don't know, society of like straighter hair is beautiful, because
Mhm.
at one point I did think that, and I think a lot of girls like with curly hair have been
Oh
through that
yeah.
phase, especially when we're
Definitely.
like children. So I was like, man, imagine like if I like never, I don't know, like if I just kept with that, like, or if I always straightened my hair, like I probably would have never gotten this opportunity.
Mhm.
And I remember like that switch when I like what was it? I found YouTube and I found like how to do my own hair and was trying to embrace it more. And I'm like, wow, see, like that one like decision, and then even how that opportunity came up was from someone that I met on a Costa Rica retreat. I'm like, imagine if I never decided to go on that retreat. I would have never met
Mhm.
her, then I would have never got this opportunity. So I like everything just connects, you know?
Yeah.
And I don't know if that's like really related to this episode, but it kind of reminded me of just how like I don't know, like listen to your intuition, like and
Yeah.
everything just like falls together.
Definitely.
And like distraction, like if you listen to distractions, like you might miss these like opportunities.
Yeah,
So yeah.
definitely. And like again, like sometimes you can be the distraction for yourself, like
Yes.
just getting in your own head and stuff like that. So yeah, I'm about to start being like, if something bad happens or somebody gets to me, I'm like, you're the distraction.
Right.
That's going to be a
So
2025.
funny.
You're the distraction. This is the distraction. If
Right.
something upsets me, that's what we're going to do, okay?
But it's going to be a meme.
Right. You are the distraction. This is the distraction. So, y'all make sure to call out your distractions in life. And this year for March, that's the theme, calling out the distractions.
Yes.
But yeah, thank you for tuning in to another episode of the Beyhive Podcast. Tell them where they can follow us.
So you can follow us on Instagram, TikTok, even Twitter or X. Whatever. You can listen to us on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, anywhere where you stream your podcast. Yeah.
Yeah, we'll see you guys next time.
Bye.
Bye.
Yay! Yay!